What's up? Vinicius here. How are you doing today? I hope everybody's okay. I hope you're having fun. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about how to how it was for me to learn other languages, but speaking them and which one it was the most difficult one in my opinion. Okay? So, if you guys keep up with me on social media, you might have seen that I can speak other languages as well. It doesn't mean that I have a good level. It doesn't mean that I speak as well as I do in English or like I do in Portuguese, which is my first language. So let's get started. Hope you guys have fun. But first things first, I'm going to tell you something that I think it's very important. It's not because I speak other languages that means that I'm fluent. And being very honest, I don't like this fluent nomenclature, this fluent thing, because what's fluent? It really depends. For example, I have some students, they're fluent in their own context. For example, they work at companies which require them to speak English, technical English, and they do. They do speak very well. The thing is, they speak so well. But when they come to me, they're not able to talk about their daily lives, which is, my opinion, is very important. So, they're fluent, they're proficient in their own department, you know? But that's pretty much it. And just so we can continue now, I'm going to tell you that I use the CEFR. It's the Common European Framework of Reference to give people their proper level, which is from A1 to C2. Okay, just so I can continue talking to you guys, I must say that you have to consider that just like I told you, I've studied and I might have not learned other languages. What do you mean by saying that, Vinny? That means that even though I studied, there are some things I'd like you to bear in mind. Okay, one of them is that I've studied two languages, but I haven't actually learned them. All right. So the first language I studied was English, but before English, I was basically doing an app. I think it's called Babel for a month or two in French. I don't know. I was just so excited. No. And then I didn't actually learn anything. I just learned a few words like comment vous appelle, comment comment appelle-vous. I don't remember. And then I remember that I dropped. I kind of quit that and I decided to focus on English because I was going to this course. And at the time, the course offered us to study 6 months for free other languages. All right. So the first language I studied was French or Spanish. I don't recall right now, but I didn't actually like Spanish. So in French, so that was the first time that I was having contact with languages, multiple ones, not like, for example, Portuguese or English. I was having contact with something else. All right. So I wasn't a guy who wanted to learn other languages by the time. I just wanted to speak English because it was for my career, was for our university. So I decided to study French and Spanish, but just like I told you, I didn't like the Spanish classes. It's not because of the teacher, it's just because I didn't want to learn Spanish. After a while, I was basically focused on learning other things. And after 2 years, of course, I studied French for 6 months, but I could speak a little, but I haven't practiced ever since. But after that, when I was already an English teacher, I could speak English only. I I joined a German course, and I used to take classes twice a week, once or twice a week, and it was super cool. And I really had fun. But during the pandemic, I needed to stop, for a while. Uh, but that's not the focus here. The thing is, German is a language that if you don't pay attention, if you don't practice way more than English, you're not gonna learn because it's so complicated. There are three genres, and I don't know. It's kind of hard. The numbers are the opposite. For example, you don't say 23, you say 3 and 20. Something like 23. It's the opposite, you know? And all right, just so you can continue. And when it comes to numbers, French is quite crazy too, you know? In French, we must say, for example, 60 plus 20 is 80, you know? 6 plus 20, no, it's 4 times 20, you know? For example, the number 80 in French is 80. 80 is like 4 times 20. And 95, I was watching a movie and I saw this. 95 is 95, which is 4 times 20 plus 10 plus 5. So you're doing math to say numbers. I know this is kind of difficult in the beginning, but it's something that might block you, from learning the language. And after a while, I decided to study Italian. And this was the first language that I quite learned. And I still know it, you know? For example, I can listen to things, I can talk to people, but I need to be prepared. If I'm gonna talk to somebody else, I'm gonna have to have this whole preparation method, session, open a book, or maybe listen to something because today Spanish is in my mind way more than Italian is. And also because I love football, so I'm always watching football interviews. I'm following pages on Instagram, on Twitter, on social media, and they're basically in Spanish. They're either in Portuguese, English, or Spanish, you know? So, all right, let's go to the best part. Which is the most difficult language? Top one, German. German is crazy difficult. In my opinion, was the most difficult language I've ever studied. However, if you're only talking about Latin languages, which are languages such as Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, so I would say French, because even though it's a Latin language, it's very close to the Germanic language as well. Germanic languages, sorry. So English and French are very common as well. Like you can find so many similarities, even in words. For example, dolphin in French is dauphin, you know? And there are many words in English which have the acento in the last letter. Example, cafe. So in English, we don't have the pronunciation, but we can just put A and that's it. Okay. Resume, cafe, and but that's pretty much it. I think when you learn the other Latin languages, you're ready to learn French. But if it's gonna be a third language, I don't know. It might take you a while. And I know some people that went to French before English. And in my opinion, they're pretty brave because English is the easiest language I've ever studied. Even though it's very different from Portuguese, it's a simple and I say poor language. It's not rich. There are no genres. There are no genres. No, I'm sorry. There are no genders. And it's basically like it's not he or she, it's only it, you know? The conjugations are pretty simple as well. So I'd say the easiest one is English. The most difficult one I've ever studied is German. But just like I'm talking to you guys, if we're talking about a Latin language, I'd say it's French, you know? And if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a language to learn right after English, I'd recommend you learn Spanish because if you're Brazilian and you're listening to me right now, we live in South America. There are so many countries around us, several countries around us, which speak Spanish, and you could make yourself understand. You could make yourself understood. So that's what I recommend. And if you're thinking of Italian, it's an amazing language. It's beautiful. It's rich. The culture is amazing. So I totally recommend it as well. All right. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you guys liked my speed. I hope you guys liked me rambling about something different. And thank you so much. I'll see you in class. And if you're not my student, you can contact me on Instagram. It's onelanguage.school or my Instagram account, which is I'm.Vinny. Thank you. I'll see you. Bye bye.